Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you how to set up and play Imperial Settlers, the roll and write version. Now I'm going to be doing this in a play along form, so I'm going to invite you to play along with me. We'll compare scores at the end, see who did better. Hopefully it was me. So let's start off by learning how to set up this game. I'll teach you how to set up both a multiplayer and solo, since it's very, very similar. First of all, I usually say a quick word about the rule book. I thought this rule book was pretty good. It left one thing that, even as I've searched the forums, is a little confusing, and that's with respect to the gold resource. I'll talk more about that a little bit later, but it's kind of confusing as to what the gold can do. Anyway. So in this game, oh man, I've laminated everything that I could. So just an FYI, it might be a little shiny. I've laminated, that's why I have a dry erase pen. But basically, when you buy this game, does not come with the game. When you buy this game, you're gonna get 3 pads of paper. One pad of paper is this big one. This is the Empire sheet. Everybody would get one of these. Okay, so I have mine laminated. I'm gonna take one of those out. All right, here, I'll show you those in a second. Now, there's another pad of paper that looks like this. This is the multiplayer sheet. Every single one of these sheets is the same. They look just like this. You have farm, settlers, a tool shop, collector, and so on. So if you're playing a multiplayer game, everybody gets one of these. I am not going to play a multiplayer game. We're going to play it by the solo rules. And that's your third pad of paper that you get is on, oh, here's my laminated ones. Your third pad of paper you get is a solo adventure. Oh, I use this to separate the two. You basically will get 48 pages, all that look a lot like this, but they're unique for the solo mode. And there's 48 sheets. I have taken them. They're single-sided sheets, but I basically took them, taped them back to back, and laminated them so that I could play this solo. I mean, I'll never play it all the way, but it'll still be fun to say that I did it. So what we're going to do is, in this gameplay along, of course, you're going to need one of these Empire sheets, and you're going to need one of these sheets, and I need it to be the same as the one that I'm choosing. I'm going to just choose totally at random. I've done the top one a lot, so I'm just going to go for this one, and I'm going to flip it over. So sheet 28. So this is the village sheet. If you want to play along, you should have your Empire sheet and your village sheet number 28. Okay, I think these are kind of designed to be played in order. I'm guessing they get tougher as time goes on or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, now, as I've played this game a bunch of times at this point, I have found myself really struggling to track resources. I think you're supposed to just track them in your head, or some people will write notes along this side of the board, but that's tough for me. I was going to design my own solution, or, well, I started out by using tokens from the original oh my gosh, Imperial Settlers. But then I realized that I just think it would be nicer while I have my marker in my hand to have a paper. I was going to make my own, but I hopped onto Board Game Geek, and somebody had designed these. This was exactly what I was hoping for, and so I'm going to be using one of these, but you might not have one. I will put a link to this file in the description of this video in case it interests you, and it's mostly meant to be laminated so that you can erase every turn. This is something that you're going to use every turn differently, in theory. So yeah, anyway, I have that. Some more things. Oh, I'll take this out. This is my own geek box, but inside of this geek box I have the 4 dice that come with the game. And then we have these tokens here. I totally forgot. Oh, these are favor tokens. Now, in a multiplayer game, you would need, they have different things on this side. In a normal multiplayer game, you would want one of these per player plus one more. So in a 4-player game, you would need all 5. For solo mode, you shuffle these up and you're going to need 3 of them. So we're going to use these 3. And so you're going to want both sheet 28 for this gameplay along, and you're going to want the favored tokens ally, export, and yield. So go ahead and do that. And I don't know why I made my voice do that thing. Now I'm going to set up the table here, and hopefully I'll eventually be able to sit down, or else my back is going to hurt. But I'm trying to set up the table in a way that you can see things, and I'm going to try to leave some space for a banner on this side. Yeah, right there, where I can list out the resources in case you're playing along and you don't want to hear my ramblings. You just want to know what things were rolled. I'm going to have a space for that banner right there. Okay, now let me explain what's going to happen in the game and how you get points and how you can win in case this is your first time playing the game. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to roll these dice. This is not my real roll, but we're going to roll these dice, and there's basically a worker's die and resources. And then we're going to use the workers and the resources to mark off these boxes with the intention of scoring points and building an engine and stuff like that. So let's take a quicker look, or a closer look at this Empire sheet. So basically, this die is telling you how many boxes or circles, but how many boxes you can cross off on your turn. And these are different resources showing you which kinds of boxes you might be able to check off. And so, for example, the biggest way to get points is by crossing off boxes along these lines. You have to go from left to right. And basically, wherever your marked off boxes end up, so like let's say that I end up with an X all the way up to here, this row would be worth 11 points at the end of the game. So basically, this is our end of game score here. And the basic thing here is we're going to collect resources and mark off boxes in order to score points at the end of the game. This is yellow just to show you that's the end of the line. These are the most points accessible by each of these rows, but really good roll here. I have, food and stone and wood. We can collect those things here with the intention of getting points. Now, if you ever see an empty box, that means that you can just spend one of your workers to cross it off. You don't have to spend a resource to do that. And so this bottom row is all about building bridges, and those bridges are going to give you access to these different islands, and you can eventually spend a worker to cross off a resource to harvest that resource so that you have it to use to mark off more boxes. And it's also going to be worth points at the end of the game as well, but not nearly as many points as up here, but it helps you get resources. So at the end of the game, we're going to check where we are on each of these rows for points, and then we're going to look at this thing here. Now, this is the very first time I've seen Adventure Sheet 28, so be patient with me as I look at this. You can see on this sheet there are more boxes to be crossed off, and these are actually buildings that we're building that will get us more benefit. So, I guess you could kind of boringly just spend every single roll filling up these things, but you're going to be limited to these 3 resources every time as you do that. If you build buildings, you're going to have more things available. So basic resources are food, wood, and stone, as you see here. And on each die, there are 2 food sides, there are 2 wood sides, 1 stone, and then there's a wild resource. This is a gold, and it can be used as any resource in the world. Okay, I'm going to re-roll those in a second. But I mention that because if I can get these 4 boxes marked off, then at the beginning of each turn, I'm going to gain a gold, and a gold is a wild resource. So that's cool. You can actually up this number, and I want to talk about that in a little bit, but for people who are learning the game, I don't want to overwhelm you. If I can mark off these 3 boxes, then it says I can trade a gold for a worker, which will get me an action, and then I can activate that ability 1 time. And any underlined number that can be modified, more on that later, like I said. If I can mark off these 3 boxes, then I built a Sphinx, and it says if you spend at least 3 stone on a turn, then you're going to gain a point. So one box that I didn't talk about over here yet, I didn't talk about that one either, but this is going to just track random points that we get during the game. We can mark them, we can just write the numbers there. So if I spend at least 3 stone on a turn, I'm going to get a point. Over here, the goldsmith. If I can mark off these 3 boxes, I'll have this ability. If the worker die shows a 3 or a 5 as a result, gain a coin. So this has 4 sides, and then it has 1 5 and 1 3. So for the most part, we're going to be rolling 4s, but we might roll a 3 or a 5. And if we do, we'd get a coin if we've built this building. Down here, so these buildings have stars next to them. Anytime you see a star next to a building name, that's end of game scoring. And so what this says is that we're going to gain 4 points for every box. We'll talk about that later. But basically, I can... okay, we'll talk about that later. There's a way to get 4 points from this sanctuary. And you'll notice there's nothing to mark off. That's just an end of game scoring thing. Down here we have the statue of Kung Fu, I guess, and we can mark off these boxes to get 3 points, 3 points for marking those off, 3 points for marking that off. Okay, and then we'd get 5 points if we can get all 3 of those built. Very cool. And you're going to notice totally different themes throughout all these different solo sheets. Okay, so again, we're trying to mark off these boxes because there are lots of points, but we're trying to mark off these boxes because they'll help us mark off those boxes a little bit better. Now, I'll go over it briefly, but basically, as we're marking boxes off, let me just do a quick example. Let's say that we're a few rounds into the game and I've marked off these boxes here. Then what I can do is I can build a settlement. So these things are called buildings. And then settlements are these shapes here. So you see I have four boxes marked off, and I can create a bigger box around it like this. And that's going to be a sanctuary thing here. That would be 4 points at the end of the game. So that's kind of what this box is referring to here. Some shapes give you points, and so that's what that would be. Maybe later on in the game, I'm totally making this up as we go. Those ones marked off. Then I could mark off this shape here, and it's like I just built another golden armory. And so what that would mean, if I were to have these, remember if I have these marked off, then I'm going to gain a coin each round, a gold. And then if I have this thing built on my board like that, then that's actually going to bump this number up like that. And I can keep building things like this on this part of my board and keep increasing that number, thus increasing the amount of resources that I get every turn. And you can do that for all of these different buildings here, and including this one. If I can just keep marking off those big squares, that's 4 more points at the end of the game. Okay? So that's, in general, what we're trying to do. We're trying to fill these up, and to help us fill these up, we're going to want to build these different buildings and probably we're going to have to make tough decisions about how to fill in those shapes to give us more, abilities and things like that. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do. So let's go through our first round together. We should start off with totally blank, empty things. I know I've covered the basics of each turn. But of course, when you play, it's different than that. And so we're gonna go through a round. I'll tell you. Well, we're gonna go through all 10 rounds. This game plays over 10 rounds. End of the game, person with the most points is the winner. Okay, so on a turn, there are 4 phases to every turn, and like I said, 10 turns in the game. Now, I think normal people probably would mark off the round at the end of the round. I always forget, so I like to mark it off at the beginning when I roll the dice. So first part of any round is roll the dice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, I've got the dice over here, but I'm going to try to make it clear with a banner over there to be fancy in case you want to fast forward and pause and however you want to do it. But basically, what this is saying is that on this round, we can mark off 4 boxes, and we have 1 wood, 1 food, and 1 gold to spend as we're marking off those boxes. Remember, gold is just a wild resource. It can be a wood or a food or a stone. So part 1 is roll the dice. And if you're using this sheet, I like to just go ahead and mark off what I have. So I'm going to circle 4 workers. I'm going to circle a wood, a food, and a gold. And then as I spend those, I like to cross those off. So again, this does not come with the game, but it just really helps because as you start to gain more resources, it can be really tough to track. So phase 1, roll the dice. Phase 2 is we're going to pick one of these tokens. Now, if this was a multiplayer game, remember you would have 1 more token than the number of players. But basically, starting with a starting player, and that would revolve from round to round, they would pick one of these things, and then the next player would pick one, and then somebody else would pick one, and so on. But where we're just doing the solo mode, of these 3, I need to pick one of those that I want. So in our game, we're playing with the ally, which would get you an extra worker on your turn. We're working on where we have export, where we could trade up to 3 different resources, each for 1 point. So I could just turn in these 3 resources for 3 points if I wanted to. Or yield. Choose a result on a resource die and harvest this resource for free. So harvesting is where we cross off a circle down here to gain that resource, but it takes an action to do that. This is saying that we could if we had this bridge built, we could use yield, pick wood, and we could harvest wood resources without spending any actions to do that. This early on in the game, I think I'm going to stick with the allies. So for me, just to help myself keep track, I'm going to go ahead and turn those upside down. I have an extra ally this turn, an extra worker. So I'm going to circle that on my board. And that's phase 2 of the game. So phase 1 is roll the dice. Phase 2 is divvy out these favor tokens. The next phase is like the main phase where we're going to spend all of this stuff to build buildings or to cross things off over here, yada yada. So I have to decide how I want to spend my workers. I love the idea of having this golden armory just so I can get an extra gold, at least an extra gold each turn. That seems wonderful to me. And so I want to work towards this. And so what I'm going to do is every time I cross off a box, I also need to cross off one of my workers. So I'm crossing off a worker to cross off this empty box here. And you should be doing whatever you want to do with your resources. Hopefully that's clear. So you could, if you wanted to, you could just, you could spend this wild and this wood to cross off this box. Notice that this is one box with 2 resources in it. So you would have to have 2 wood at the same time that you cross off one person. Where down here, you would have to spend 2 different resources, like 2 different foods and 2 different actions to mark those off. So just be cognizant of that. But as it is right now, I'm not using these dice anymore. But as it is right now, I spent 1 action to cross off that empty one. I'm going to spend another action. My marker's not doing great. And a wood to cross this one off. I'm going to spend an action and a gold. Remember, the gold is wild to cross this one off. And I'm going to spend an action and a food to cross this one off. And I still have 1 more action to go. And at the beginning of my next turn, after I roll the dice, I will have 1 more gold to spend. Wahoo. And if by chance I can cross enough stuff off here to make this shape, I could have 2 or 3 or 4 gold, just depending on how I cross off my shapes. So that's kind of fun. I'm excited that I built my first building. I hope nobody else did that. Okay. And then I have 1 more action to spend. It needs to be an empty box. Since I'm going to be getting gold, it could be a good idea to work on this beetle. I like the way that could work together. This is an engine building game, so you're trying to get stuff to work together. So I could have just as easily marked off any one of these empty boxes. You always have to start on the left and work your way to the right. But I could have marked that off. I could have marked that off. Maybe I should have. Oh well. It is what it is. But I now have used up all of my actions. Whether or not you use your resources, you're going to lose them at the end of the round. So I'm glad I managed to spend everything. So that was phase 3, was to spend your resources to build stuff up. And then the last thing is just like, it's like a round cleanup. So like everybody would return their tokens, and I'm going to erase my board here and stuff like that. That was round 1. We are ready for round 2. So round 2, we start off by rolling the dice. So I've got 4 workers, 2 food, and a gold. So I always start by marking those things off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 food, and a gold. Okay. And then I need to decide which of these. You get to decide your own. You don't have to worry about what I'm choosing or not choosing. But I think, again, especially this early on, I definitely don't want yield because I haven't even built a bridge to help me to harvest yet. And I'm not in a position where I have export is good. If you build your engine well enough, you're going to have tons of resources coming in and not enough actions to use them. That's when this is good. So I'm just going to stick with my ally probably for the first couple of turns. So I've got another worker here. Okay. Go ahead and build your empire. I'm going to be doing the same thing over here. And for myself, and don't forget, I always do forget, I need to give myself an extra gold because of my golden armory. Okay. All right. I think I do want to build this beetle. So I'm going to spend 2 actions and 1 gold to mark these off. And again, this will be available next round. It's not available this round. But I also really need to start working on these things because I would like to get more. I want more of that stuff. And I don't really have a good stone. I don't have good stone coming in. So this is interesting. If you spend at least 3 stone, gain 1 point. But to spend the stone we don't really have a lot of ways to gain stone, and spending gold is not the same as spending stone. Okay. At least that's not my understanding. It's a little tricky because every sheet you have little questions that come up and you kind of just have to make a decision. There aren't, like, there's a lot of good stuff on Board Game Geek I've found, but they don't address every building of every paper because that's a lot. So let's think. Well, like I said, it's probably good to start building down here. So I think... okay, let's spend 2 resources or 2 actions and 2 food to mark off those 2 there. I could go for the blank one, but I really want to use my last gold. Let's use our last gold to mark off this stone here. Oops. Okay, that was round 2. I need to try to remember I have these buildings here for the end of the game. Or not for the end of the game, for each round. Now we're going to do a quick cleanup, so everybody returns those. We're going to go ahead and erase this. And, oh, I'm always so bad at forgetting that. That was round 2. Now round 3. Here we go. Okay. So once again, most commonly you're going to roll a 4. Once in a while you'll roll a 3 or a 5. And maybe I'll have that building at that time. So start by marking off your resources. I know I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a food, a wood, and a stone. And then I also have a gold. And I could, during this turn, trade a gold for a worker. And I could do that 1 time per round. Unless I build more, if I manage to fill out this shape, I could do that more than once. And if I'm gaining a lot of gold, that's a cool thing to do. Let me think. Now I need to decide which of these tokens I want. I know I don't want this yet. Don't have my bridges built. And I'm not having an excess of resources. I have not that many resources. So, yep, we're going to stick with the ally. Pretty common thing this early on. Maybe later on too. We'll see. So let's see here. In order to get that shape, I'm going to need... however I do it, this way or this way or this way. Not exactly sure how I want to do it, but probably go like this. Okay, I'm going to spend a worker and a stone to build this one. And then I'm going to spend a worker and the gold and the wood, because I need 2 woods at the same time to fill out that one. And then, well, I don't want to do that till I get more gold. Okay, so I have 3 more actions and a food. Okay, I'm thinking, what if I don't worry so much? I'm going to waste a food this time. I'm going to go with my 3 actions. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go like this. 1, 2, 3. Now that I've built this one bridge, I've opened up the option to spend workers to pick up more resources. Okay, that was the end. Well, we're going to do a quick cleanup here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my board. Return these like that. And that's it. Yes. Okay, so I have that bridge built. I can harvest these with an action if I want to. We're on round 4 now. Go ahead and roll the dice. Ooh, okay, so we have a 5 action. I wish I had that building built by now. That would have gotten me another gold. But that's not too bad. 5 actions. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A wood, a food, and a gold. Plus another gold. Plus, we'll just... yeah, we have lots of empty boxes that we can fill out. We'll stick with the ally for my thing. All right, what am I doing? Well, I know that I'm going to need some stone. I just need to keep... crap. Okay. Stone is going to be tough to come by in this scenario, apparently. Really tough, actually. So I'm going to spend a worker and the 2 gold to build this here. I really want to be able to build more gold. I'm not going to be able to get more wood. Yeah, wow. This one's kind of tricky. Yeah, every sheet is so different, so you have like you can't just like stick with one strategy. All right, so I built that one. I need to get more wood, and in other games I've played, I have like too many woods, but I don't have that problem here. So I'm gonna spend. We're gonna have a plethora of workers this time. I probably shouldn't have taken that. Well, but those wouldn't have helped either. Okay, well. Actually, I'm going to spend a worker to harvest a wood. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to spend a worker and these 2 wood to cross that one off. And you need to use those resources when you cross them off. Okay, so I've got another worker and a food I can cross off here. And then I've got a worker I can cross off that one. And then I have no more resources. I just have a worker. So let's start working on this stuff. I like this one more. I want to work on that. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I want to get as much gold as I can. Okay, so that was that last worker. Okay, let's return this. I wonder how many times I said K in this video. Not enough, I'm sure. All right, next up. Round 5. After this, we'll be halfway through. Okay, so 4 workers, 2 food and a wood. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 food and a wood. Maybe harvesting for free is not a bad idea. Harvesting wood for free would be good. Okay, so for once, I'm going to grab the yield. Well, but I can only harvest 1 wood. That's okay. So I'm choosing a result on a die. I can harvest that resource for free. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to pick up an extra wood. And I have my extra gold. And if I want to, I could trade a gold to get more workers. Let's see if I want to. I would definitely like to build this. So cross that off and that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a settlement here. Now this doesn't go into effect now, it'll go into effect later, but basically I'm just going to up this number to a 2. If I draw that shape again, I would move it up to a 3 and so on. And I'm also going to do this. Am I going to do this? I don't know. Well, I should have put those as X's. I just don't think I'm ever going to have an excess of stone, so I'm not sure why I would want to go for that Sphinx. I mean, that is why you get a point for it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and build a sanctuary. At the end of the game, that'll be worth 4 points. Now, I should say, you could draw outlines for buildings you haven't completed, but you don't get the benefit from them until you actually finish the building. Okay, but that'll be 4 points at the end of the game for me. So not a bad start. Okay, what am I doing now? I want to be able to keep doing that. Let's see, what shape? Ooh, I've kind of... By the way I did that square there, maybe I need to, I just barely did that, right? If I were to put the square here, it would allow me to build that way. Oh, you can't, I should have said, I'll annotate it, you can't change the orientation of this at all. It is what it is. So, yeah, don't change, you can't change the orientation. Tell that to my parents. And, okay, so what are we doing next? I've got a bunch of food. Oh, oops. I'll annotate that as well. I shouldn't have been able to do that because I didn't cross that off yet, but I just did, so we're good there. All right, and then I used that already, right? No, I harvested for free. I haven't done that. But I don't think I can or want to. Okay, I need another wood. All right, I'm going to spend an action and a gold as a wood so that I can build down here. And I'm harvesting wood for free. Right? Choose a resource on the die, harvest this resource for free. I'm pretty sure that goes for the whole round. So hopefully that's true. If not, I apologize. But now that this field is available, I'm going to harvest these 2 woods for free because I was harvesting wood for free. And then I'm going to spend this last action on that space there. So once again, I've wasted some food, but that's okay. All right, cleanup. We're halfway through. This is going to go very fast. That's why I like this game. You could just sit down and knock it out. All right. Oh, we returned these. I did that wrong. Okay, round 6. Oh, stone finally. Okay. So, what have I got? I've got these here. Probably don't even need that banner. You can see stuff, but it'll be nice to have it clear over there. Okay. So I've got 4 actions, 2 stone, 1 food, 2 gold this turn. I could spend a gold to get another action if I wanted to. But which of these do I want? I think I'd like the yield because look at all that stone I could harvest for free. Okay. Yes. All right. So I'm going to choose the result on a die and harvest that for free. So I'm going to harvest 1, 2 more stone. That was that action. Neat. All right. So let's start by spending... Oh, yes. Okay. I'm going to spend 1 worker and 2 stone to mark this off. I need 3 stones at the same time now. So I'm going to do 1 worker, 2 stones, and a gold to mark that one off. And then I think what I'll do is I'll go 2 foods, 1 worker, 2 workers and 2 foods like that. Yeah, I think I did that right. Yes. Okay, clean up. All right. So again, yield only works if that's showing on a die. So no stone, but I've already harvested all of my stone, so that's okay. But what could I do with a lot of food? Oh, I could shoot that way up. All right, let's start with the basics. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 foods, 1 wood, 2 gold for me. I think I would like to harvest all of that food that's available now. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. Are we on round 7 or round 6? I think we are on round 6. I just made a comment about halfway through. I always forget to track my rounds over and over when I play alone. That happens all the time. All right. I'm going to go ahead and harvest 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's start filling this thing out down here. So we've got 1. Oh, but that's going to take a lot of workers. I need to do that carefully, not go too crazy. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. Why did I do that? That was too much. Yeah, I don't like that I did that. Hold on. Reverse these. Sorry, that was stupid. I think I'm early enough I can do this without you guys getting too mad at me. I'm not harvesting those. I already have enough. I'm going to get another extra worker. Sorry. I know. Okay. Let's get back to business. I'll stick with that, though. I would like that. What other shapes can fit here? Oof, not very many good ones. Well, I could do a box here. Okay, let's... You don't have to claim those immediately. I don't want to forget, and I want to keep with standard stuff up there. All right, next up, I have 2 gold and a wood, so let's spend 1 worker, 1 gold, and 1 wood to mark off this one. I'm not going to do a box there because, again, I want to get more gold. And I have 1 more worker and 1 more gold. Let's go ahead and mark off... Oh, I still have that worker too. Let's mark off both of those. Cool. We've got our goldsmith built. If we roll a 3 or a 5, I'll gain another gold. Yay! All right, clean up. Again, if I gave myself an extra round, you get an extra round too. I'll have to watch for that as I record. But now we are on round 7 for sure. Okay. So 4 workers. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 food, 1 wood. I got 2 gold. I didn't get this. I'm out of stone. I need to build more bridge. Okay. I really need to build this bridge because that'll give me access to this stone down here. So I think I'm going to spend 2 workers and a gold to mark these off. Oh, shoot. Sorry. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm choosing the yield. That'll give me access to this. Oh, but I don't want to use the yield. Because of the stone. I can't harvest stone with this action. Oh my gosh. This is what I do when I play solo, and that's probably very bad, but it is what it is. All right, but I have opened that up, which is great. Sticking with that worker, I used my 2 worker. What did I do with my 2 workers? Why did I mark off 2 workers? Oh, it was down here. That's right. But I can't harvest that just yet, or I'm choosing not to. But what I could do is I'm going to harvest this double wood and then use my last worker. I don't think I'm making very smart choices now. We're getting to the end. Maybe I don't care so much about that. I just need points. Oh, I have 1 more worker and essentially 3 resources, though. Okay, my last worker over here. And I'll go ahead and mark 1 of these off. Oof, okay. Not loving it. Not loving it. I'm curious how you're all doing. I know I'm struggling. Okay. Oh, let's mark this off. Round 8. Okay. All right. 4 workers. 1 of each. Resource. And 2 gold. And I am going to use the yield because a stone did show up so that I can harvest 5 stone. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's great. Yes. And I got my 2 gold. Didn't get a 3 or 5. Okay. I always have to recheck this. Oh, there's good points down here that I'm not getting. Maybe I should be doing those. Oof. Should I? Okay, well, let's see what I would do otherwise. I've got 5 stone. Okay, I'm going to spend 2 workers, all 5 stone, and 1 gold to mark off these 2 here. That's going to let me get this shape here, and this will become a 3 for next time. And then I have 2 more workers. I'm going to go 2 workers, a gold, and a food to mark off 2 of these. Like that. I'm really close to getting another 4 points here. Or, if I wanted to... Ooh. It's a little risky. We're going to do it. I'm going to build this shape here so that I get 2 workers if by chance... Or 2 gold if I roll a 3 or a 5 here. Yep, that's what I'm doing. Okay. Go ahead and clean that off and return these. And before I forget, mark off. This is round 9 that we're in right now. Okay, stone, a wood, and a gold. 4 workers and a 4. Dang it! 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so let me redo that. 1, 2, 3, 4. A stone, a wood, a gold. Plus I get 1, 2, 3 golds from that. And, sad. Okay, I could turn in a gold to get another worker. What do I want? Well, I kind of would really like to get those there. 3. Okay. Is this what I'm doing, really? Probably. Okay, I just like that that's 4 points. So what I'm going to do is spend 3 gold, 3 workers, and 1 wood to go like this, because that will be another 4 points at the end of the game. And this is a really easy 3 points. I'm going to spend a worker and a gold to mark that one off right there. Okay. All right, final round. Oh, I didn't even choose one of these. Sorry. I know I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. That happens. That way I spend a worker and a stone. Wait, where? I just saw a worker and a stone. Oh, right here. Okay. And, oh, did I? No, I haven't opened up the last bridge just yet. All right. So sorry. Yes, occasionally I accidentally cheat, and now you're catching it on camera. All right, final round. Here we go. Let's see how this goes. Dang it. Oh, I think that was a stone. I never got to take advantage of that. That's very disappointing for me, but it is what it is. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lots of points. I think I'm going to have to use my yield. Okay. I have a stone and a wood. And, but I can't do that to harvest food because food isn't showing. Oh, that's very sad. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I'm not doing that one. Do I want to trade? No, I don't have enough. I don't have a lot of resources. I'll gain an ally. Okay. I did it semi-properly this time. All right. Got to get as many points as possible. Now, if I were to fill that out, that's an extra 4 points. If I were to fill that one out, that's an extra 3 points. So probably I'd want to go for 4 stone. What else would I want to do? I'm 1 gold short. If I were to have 1 more gold, no, I'm a bunch of gold short. Okay. That's a tough one. Maybe I could work it out. Okay, a worker, a stone, and a wood. That opens up this thing here. I really wanted that. So 1, 2. That will let me harvest these 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to spend my last 2 workers. Ooh, nope. I'm not going to harvest this 2 because I have gold. Okay, so I spend those 2 workers to mark these off using 1, 2, 3. I think I'm doing this right. I harvested. Okay, here's what I did. I built the bridge. I harvested 3. I spent 2 workers and 3 food and 2 gold to get those ones marked off, which will also let me mark off another square. And I have 1 more worker that probably won't do anything because I just have 2 wood. Like I have a wood and a gold and a worker. So that's not going to get me those 2 points there. And can't really do anything down here. So those are kind of just going to go to waste, I guess. We'll mark that one off. Okay. Oh, or I could trade my gold. I could trade my gold for an extra worker. But what would I do with that extra worker, you know? I don't think I would do anything. But I could harvest. Oh, that's what I'll do. I'm going to trade the gold to get the worker. So I have 2 workers left. I'm going to spend 1 of those workers to harvest the 3 wood, and then I'm going to spend my last worker to mark that one off. Okay, in theory I didn't cheat all that much, probably just a little. But now we're going to go into final scoring. Final scoring. I don't know why I flipped those over. Okay, final scoring. First of all, see where you are on each of these rows. So I've got 15, 14, 21, 9. Now, points from your shapes, that was only happening down here or here, but I didn't do this. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 big squares for 4 points each. That's 16. And I didn't have any in-game points there. Oh my gosh, I never named. I even had a name. I was going to steal Chaz Marler's name, and I was going to do I was going to do Paradise. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Oh, it's over. Sad. I'm very sad about this. Okay, now I need to add all of this together. Easier said than done. So let me flip this over. Oh, I don't want to get that on my white tablecloth. Okay, final score. Here we go. 15 plus 14 is 29. Plus 21, that ends up being 50. And then another 9 is 59. And then another 16 is, add 1, not take 1 away. So that's a 5. 75 was my total score. Pretty good. I'm mostly curious how you guys did. There is this thing here. 75, I'm a king. I'm not an emperor, but I'm a king. So, along with my cheating, and maybe we got an extra round in there, I'm not exactly sure. But that's how we did on the Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you got in the comments and all that stuff. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.